Hello, welcome, Lydia. How are you?
Hello, Laura. I am doing fine, thank you. How are you this afternoon? And how did Storm Malik treat you? Was it kinder where you were because the United Kingdom had to deal with Storm Malik at a big scale?
We have a lot of rain. We don't have too much wind, but it's probably coming. And we hear terrible news about the Turkey. My daughter is about to leave and go to. She's been waiting the whole day for the airport to allow her to go to Istanbul. So it's a tough time. But let's talk about ourselves. Let's talk about the the list woman. Let me see. Maybe I have to start again because I'm saying something stupid right now. So we will need some cut and paste somehow. I'm so glad to have you with us to talk a little bit about the experience you had with the list woman community. When did you start with List Woman and what made you start to join us? Tell us
Ah,
a little bit about that.
I started the List Woman in 2021, and that was following an on and off relationship that we both had, and then you introduced me to the Liz woman, and it's really been in the lockdown with COVID, and also as a woman working in a male-dominated organization, it was a much needed collaboration with high-profile women to network with. I certainly got a lot out of that experience, and I'm so glad you thought me worthy to be part of that networking circle.
That is so nice to hear, Lydia, and I'm happy that you stress some of the key aspects of this community. It was born during the pandemic, which created a lot more isolation than we had ever before. And it addresses women, as you say, high profile international women who are already struggling in some ways to get the time to be able to network because it's a tough thing. It's still hard to be one of the very few people female in top positions, being international adds the complexity. You are a fantastic example. You are in a job that is very, very male and it keeps you enormously busy. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Oh, thank you, Laura. So I am the regional engineering manager for the North Sea business, and I'm the regional manager for that for the North Sea. I'm already tongue tied as well. So I'm the regional engineering manager for the North Sea business of BP. It involves about 5 offshore installations, and then we interface with JV partners as well. So we also have a receiving facility in Solomville, and we those facilities range from fixed jacket platform to floating production and storage vessel platform. And I equally look after a large population of engineers who look after the day-to-day operations for the our offshore sites.
So, wow, very demanding, very complex, and I'm sure that there are very few women, very few international women, very few culturally different women in that context. So, you are certainly a bright star.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you that you think that way. I certainly questioned why I was asked to do this role at the start. I wanted to know if what I saw in myself was what others saw in me. I think it's always important for us as leaders to use opportunities when you're being appointed into another role to recalibrate, to be sure that the value that the business is expecting of you is also the value you know you can bring. So I knew I had to ask those questions at the start, and luckily, I'm still very aligned with BP, so no pressure there.
Well, it sounds like it's again demanding and and satisfying. And you do sound like you have a lot of enjoyment in between the many challenges. But you also had a particularly challenging year last year. So I would like to hear from you. How was it for you to find time and energy for this community, for the List Woman community, and at the same time using it to re-energize a little bit, because it's always a trade-off, right? You put some time and effort in there, but you do it because it helps you in some tough moments. Tell a little bit about your experience.
Laura, you're asking me to open a Pandora's box, but I will do it for the benefit of those listening, because it's important that we understand that behind our superwoman persona, there is a human being after all, a vulnerable human being after all. So, for those who don't know, I lost a very close family friend of mine a family member last year, my only sister, and my younger sister at that. And she died just after a brief illness. And it hit home, it hit hard, because it's the second loss we are experiencing as a nuclear family, having lost my dad 7 years ago. And you can imagine, in the midst of a very busy job, everybody demanding of you. I'm a mom with an dual career marriage to 3 kids. And to just get that news on a Monday afternoon that she had just passed away was tough. I had to put everything at a pause to now think, what do I do? How do I manage this? And I'm grateful for the list women, because I think I reached out to Laura on a message and I went, Laura, I'm not going to be able to attend. I've just lost my sister. And I thought I was reaching out to Laura yourself. And then I found out that the whole community reached out with kindness and understanding. And I went through a grieving process. I had to go for counseling as a result of it. And I think it's important that we recognize when we need help, when we don't have all the answers. And I'm grateful for that, because it helped me to get back on my feet. I did take a break from Liz for I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks. During all that period, I had to travel to sort out funeral arrangements. But when I came back, it was like a band of sisterhood that I got. Now, I felt I've lost my only biological sister, but these professional women that I network with put aside all their superwomen cape and just came and gave me a virtual hug and shared in my pain. And I think that's one of the strengths and gifts you get with Liz, is that ability to be part of a community that is willing to cry with you when you're crying, rejoice with you when you're happy. And that is the genuineness of this community. And I'm so honored and grateful for the support that I receive. And it wasn't a one-off. It continued throughout the year. Even as I speak right now, I still have that, people reaching out, people encouraging. And I think we all need a support network. So not only was it a professional network for my career, it became a network that stood by me when I needed it at the most fragile moments in my emotions.
Absolutely. And Lydia, I must say that the community got a lot from you, because you talk about what you got during a specific period when you were suffering, mourning, struggling to do everything practical and struggling to keep sane yourself. But your example was incredibly inspiring. You coming back, as you call it, to talk again with and to interact again, and you came back with a lot of energy and contribution. It was fabulous to see how you were, gradually dealing with your own pain and your own struggles, but you were there not just to get, shoulders to cry on, but I remember the first time you came back, and then, after some discussions, and you said, okay, so now we're going through a period when we're empowering people. What does it mean? What's your experience? I was like, wow, fantastic. You were into the conversations about leadership and about how to get, ideas from each other, how to share things in the midst of all of your, you know, vulnerable moments and difficult moments. So that is the strength. That there's no one talking about the super women with a cape here. It's actually the humanity of smart, strong ladies who have to juggle much and can really learn and exchange. And you're a fabulous example of someone who is contributing, just having impact with your own presence and being there with, you know, the good and the good moments, the bad moments, your smile.
Oh, Laura, you're so kind. I guess what is always important is we stay true to ourselves all the time. We bring our whole self. And that's what I do with the List Woman. I bring my whole self. My down, my ups, my joys, my not so great moments. And I know that I have limitations and I have limitations in the experiences I've had. And I remember that experience, that episode that you talked about so well. I was going to have a difficult conversation. I was going to have a performance conversation, and I had tried everything with this individual. And I still remember when I was given the advice of, you need to not forget, what do you want this person to get out of this conversation? You need to remove yourself out of that conversation. And because the reason why you're having this conversation is you want this person to be better. And I'm so grateful for the List Women. And you won't believe it, I had an end of year conversation and it was the best I've ever had with this individual. So without a doubt, I gained so much
That's
from my community, and I am grateful for the List community. It's
That's a
amazing.
great example. It's a great example of the thinking that maybe you're putting yourself too seriously into something, and then you risk to put your anxiety into conversation with, whereas it is actually for the other person. And let's talk about your impact to the community, because you were one who from the beginning wanted to push the concept that. Even if we have something that happens every Wednesday, we don't want to have the obligation. We want to be flexibly invited to an opportunity. And you're one who is saying, you know, sometimes it wasn't the right moment, but I could listen to a recording at night, you know, or something like that. And that helped us a lot also at the beginning of List Woman to phrase, to present the program and to encourage ladies to participate without saying it's an obligation, because you need to do that, you know, you need to. And you were so such a great example of showing, you know, that you needed some moments for yourself, but you're still there, you're still present, and you don't need to be there all of the time, but you are there in this safe space. And the safe space is also what you absolutely indicated. You know, we're talking about, this is a place where we can be ourselves, and no judgment, you know, confidentiality. And you are even open in this specific interview that we said we're going to share more broadly. You are saying things that are quite personal, and you feel safe to do it because this is a community that supports you. But you were a great example to help us say, yeah, this is that community.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. And things happen quite nicely for you, because recently you've had a promotion. You were nominated you got an award for leadership with a gala dinner. We saw fantastic pictures online, and you started to publish some articles on LinkedIn about the things that are important for you, for your leadership. So you got that clarity, and you want to communicate more. So you've been, you know, blossoming in more ways than ever before. And again, you continue to be an example, but I hope that part of it is also, some of the product of feeling supported by the community.
Oh, without a doubt. When you're with a group of high achieving women, you don't have a choice but to feel like a high achiever.
It's great.
Especially the way we make, I mean, I'm sitting with people who are board members in the companies. They're board members of FTSE 100 companies. They're top, very, very busy women. And yet they just come simply with a cup of tea and we laugh. That breaking that wall and taking away the myth of that difference is so, so energizing, and it makes you want to make a difference. And I remember, was it one of the speakers I that talked about how do we make an impact with wherever we are. And so I decided that, look, life will throw at you. We don't have control of what life is going to throw at us. But what we do have control of is what difference we made with life. So I did start publishing. It was an honor and it's still surreal. Some days I still wake up to think that award was a dream. To be called a D&I leader, diversity and inclusion leader, not just leading. They're calling you a leader. That means you're a pioneer in a space that is still murky waters. Many companies are still trying to find their feet. It's humbling. And it makes me want to wake up and do more. After the award, every day when I wake up and come to work is, how have I been inclusive? How am I influencing others to be inclusive in this space? How am I helping others to recognize diversity? And it's not diversity by obvious gender, color, skin, race, but diversity of thoughts, the inclusion. And the List women already demonstrates this with our thoughts. We've got various characters and various personalities within the List community. And it's a way to mirror how do we bounce off each other and complement each other as a community. So that's really, really key.
I really love what you're saying about the complementarity, because that is really the most important thing that I've always experienced in my own career. It is a very important concept for List Women. You're demonstrating it very well, because there are so many ways in which we are diverse. We're diverse because some people work in food and some in energy, because you're an engineer and some other people are marketeers, and you're black and some other people are brown or yellow or white or whatever, or a mix or whatever. And we are young and old, and some people are on boards, but on in small companies. Some people are maybe at a lower position, but are huge companies with huge responsibility. There's so much more, and the diversity of ideas, of thoughts, can be sometimes a little bit scary. But when we overcome our anxiety of the different and learn to communicate and to benefit from each other's richness, that is where we all thrive and benefit from it with a little bit of a smile. That is the important thing, taking it, nicely with positive optimism. So, is anything else that you want to say before we talk about the Pioneer Award for List Woman?
No, I just want to say thank you, Laura, for birthing something that gives us a space to show that women can share and lift each other up with respect, with courage, with all the ingredients that helps us to show up and stand and compete with our male counterparts. It's been amazing. So thank you for birthing something this great.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And actually, since you were one of the most fundamental initial examples of how we can work on this community, and you certainly contributed to making it the place that it is today, because you were one of the very first, and we didn't know what we're doing, so we had to shape it. So thank you. And this is a smaller award compared to the big one that you got with the gala dinner and everything, but it is given to you with a heart, with a lot of gratefulness, and let's see if I can just send it to you virtually.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you so much. Thank you so much for this beautiful award. And I do what I do, not for the award, but because we need to make the world better. We need to leave the world a better place for our daughters, for ladies, for young girls coming behind us. They must not go through the challenges that we've gone through. If they're going through those same challenges, we are not doing our jobs properly. And
That's
I know that Liz is a place to start, and I can just see Liz as a seed, and as it grows, and gradually that little sapling is going to become a forest, and the forest becomes like a terrain, and before you know, you have a countryside and a whole nation of wonderful strong trees that are towering and providing shade for the younger seeds that are coming up.
what
So
a
thank you.
fantastic image. What a fantastic image. Yes, and you and I have daughters, daughters who are ambitious and already successful. You have a teenager who's already published a book. So, yes,
Yes.
and we wanted to empower also the
Yes,
teenagers.
thank you. Thank you so much for this beautiful award.
Uh,
Thank you, everyone, for it. I appreciate it. It means so much. It's going straight to my mantelpiece. I mean, it has another leadership of influence for
yeah.
successful business women. I mean, what more can I say? Thank you for the recognition. It means so
You
much.
for being
Thank
one of our fantastic
you.
pioneers, and I hope that this will stay there to inspire your daughter and everybody else around you, in addition to what you already do.
Thank you.
Fantastic, Lydia.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Laura.
much.
Thank you.
And yes, have
Thank
a
you.
wonderful rest of the day.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. I think that we will just make sure that Prognia cut, the beginning and the end, like this part, puts a nice title, and then you watch it and you say if it is okay for you.
It'll be fine. Let's not overscript it. I
We
think
would really like to just post it on LinkedIn and and use it, and because your story is such a wonderful story. So and, this great smile, which is really,
the same with you, Laura. You make it easy. Whenever I'm with you, I'm just myself. I just come to you as myself. And you've seen me. You've seen me cry. You've seen me upset. You've seen me worried. You've seen all the shades of Lydia. So
You know what you say touches my heart, and I'm already wet in my
oh,
eyes.
no,
So thank you
thank
so
you.
much. So take very good care of you. I hope that I can see you soon. I know that you have
Yes.
very a busy period now. I sent a message saying that I expect you to be, doing the presentation in March. So we're looking
Yes.
for the lady who's going to do it in February. You're always welcome when you're back. Looking forward to that. All
Thank
the
you.
best of luck for all of the challenges that you have around you, and keep
Thank
smiling.
you. Thank you, Laura. Thank you.
Take
Bye.